everybody. Welcome back. Episode 6, Top of the Tower. Appreciate you joining us. Appreciate you hanging in there with me. What a great interview with Tim House. And now I'm going to throw you a curveball. That is not Michael Davis. That is not Michael Davis right there. That is Jeremy Sharit. And I pulled an audible on you, and we're going to let Jeremy talk about it, but we're going to talk to the guys down in Birmingham, Alabama, and that's where we're rolling right now, and going to talk to an engineering company, guys down at SMW, and many of you in the wireless telecom industry know these guys, and but we got the guy that's really got all the risk on his back, and that's Jeremy Sharit. And Jeremy, how you doing today?
The Stork, I'm well, brother.
Well,
How are you?
I'm doing great, and I just can't thank you enough for joining me. And we were going to have Michael on, and then his tooth abscessed, or what happened? The wheels came off the wagon, though. What happened with Michael?
I'm not completely sure. He called me last night and he said that his teeth wasn't feeling real good and he was going to be headed to the dentist today. So,
Wow, wow. Well, I asked you guys to come on just to, talk about what you guys do. You guys been involved, like I said, in wireless telecom for quite some time, and I told you I felt the need to try to help some companies out there from time to time. This is the start of that. You're the guinea pig. Appreciate you dying out there with me, but here's what I wanted to. I just wanted you to come on. Us have a short conversation. Just talk about SMW and see what's going on. So SMW engineering company out of Birmingham, Alabama, and you have how many employees? And you kind of take it away and give us a little elevator speech about SMW.
currently, we have about 150 employees
Okay.
that are salaried, and we've got anywhere from 50 to 80 folks that work with us on a contract basis, depending on the ebb and flow of the industry.
Uh huh.
We do surveying, A&E. We work for, well, almost anyone that does telecom, to be honest. We do work with the tower companies, work with the carriers, work with a lot of SIDAC folks. Um, if it's got to do with telecom, we'll at least try to help you with it, or point you in the direction to that you can be successful with what your project is.
And you guys are highly involved in several big small cell projects. And, I'm not involved in small cell. I'm a tower guy. I like to go up. And talk to me a little bit about small cell. You guys have been in it for quite some time. But what is something that has changed maybe from when you first got in it to today as you look at the industry?
Oh, the almost the entire industry standard has changed when it comes to small cell versus the macro. Uh, but the funny thing about it is, if you're installing a new small cell pole, which is typically not more than about 55 feet tall, anywhere from 30 to 55 feet, you have to go through the same thing. You have to have SIDAC. You have to have uh, environmental. It's it's kind of the same, but a little bit unique in itself. So, um, but there's a lot more challenges in the beginning of small cell. Now that we've got our head wrapped around it, you just kind of go with the flow and learn from your mistakes and learn from your victories and just move forward.
Do you like executing that small cell stuff versus the tower part?
Uh, you know, it's it's all the same, really.
Okay.
We it's a good challenge, right? In the very beginning, it was extremely challenging because the jurisdictions were, not wanting to work with you. We were having to deal with going inside a public right of way, and it was just all completely different. But now that we've worked through the ebb and flow and kind of hit a plateau and just working with it and moving right along. So,
Well, and and when you take something on like this, is it different in each city, or do you just normally like? And what I mean is, like, if I'm doing a project in Florida, I'm doing a project in Atlanta. Is it the same play, Jeremy? Basically, I mean, it's the same pieces and parts, just like the tower business.
in the very beginning, we went to them with a standard playbook, right?
Okay.
And we just to give them an idea of what we were planning on doing, how we expected it to go, what we expected to put in. At first, it was everyone kind of liked that playbook, but as more players got involved, everyone had their own ideas. Each one of those playbooks changed per jurisdiction, per market. And, as anything in telecom, when you've got jurisdictions, you're going to get easy ones, you're going to get ones that are extremely difficult. And that's kind of how it's worked itself out.
When I had a chance, I worked for an engineering company for a little while, and you are aware of that in the past and everything. One of the things that I looked at along the way was, keeping engineering folks motivated, or what I mean is focused on, even though it's kind of monkey work in a sense. If you get a run and they say, okay, Verizon's going to do, or AT&T, or T-Mobile, or Dish, or fill in the blank. I'm not trying to, but let's say it's 200 antenna changeouts. You're basically taking an existing configuration. You're going to drop an antenna on the alpha, beta, gamma, slide a new one up, maybe add a RRU here and there. And when you go do that, how do you keep that? How do you keep that interesting in your company when you talk to your employees and stuff?
That's always a challenge to keep everyone interested. Um, but we just do our very best to try to handle it as a family. And if anyone has any issues or has some things that they're not comfortable with, or if there's some atrophy that sets in, we do our very best to move people around as best we can so that everyone can kind of cross train. And if there's one thing that one person has a more of a strength, then we will utilize those strengths. But the only way that we can determine that is if we just allow everyone to be involved, and then we just kind of let the chips fall how they fall, depending on the workload.
Well, and I worked for Crown. It's no secret. And did a lot of work for them. Did a lot of real estate work and antenna changeouts. And even though I was handling that paperwork, man, I mean, I got excited thinking about this antenna when it goes up. I mean, it's going to change the way people use the phone in downtown Nashville. I'm in an entertainment environment, and I just always look as when I see somebody in the grocery store or I see somebody using a handset, they may not be using something that I have my hands in on or I helped to develop or we got the work done there. But somewhere along the way, what work you're doing, wherever it exists, that's exciting to know. I mean, we're not, it's not a, even though some people say it's a widget business, it's not a widget business. It's a cool business to be in.
You're exactly right. And a lot of our managers and designers and stuff, some of the most exciting things that I hear them talk about is, did you see the new small cell down at the corner of so and so?
Yep.
Or did you see the new macro, the new monopole, the new monopine, stealth, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
down at the corner of
Fill in the
First and
blank. Yep.
Fifth? It's just that's when people get the most excited, when they actually go see what they've been putting on paper for the past 500 renditions.
Absolutely, and
Um,
one of the reasons why. I mean, after we get the sites and after we get to going where we going, man, I love to get up underneath that wheel and get out there and chase that steel and watch it just go up, Jeremy. I mean, I
yep,
love it. It's just fun to me. But
yep.
make it no secret. Like I said, I got a chance to look underneath the hood of SMW, and you guys, along with Mr. Marvin Webster, and if those of you that don't know Marvin, he's a big, tall guy, usually all the things. You guys have this enterprise software, and I had a chance to take a look at it, and man, it's there's some people that run a commercial software, and it may be used kind of like a crescent wrench for different service industries. I don't want to beat them up. There's some out there, shoot, they run as much as $5,000 a month, but I don't want to fill in the blank. Many of you get a bill for stuff like that every month, but you all got a little system, and an enterprise system that you all built and wrote, and it is specifically for telecom work and how we do our work. And I've kind of talk to me a little bit about how y'all, and from what I understand, it is, and I don't want to go down anything, but that baby, if there's companies out there that want a piece of that engineering software, you're willing to help them because you guys actually have programmers on staff. So if Marvin, and if you get Marvin on this, I mean, I've talked to him, Jeremy. The
Oh,
guy,
Marvin loves it.
Marvin is wide open on this software. I mean, he is. I mean, if you've never got it up underneath the hood with Marvin on this software, it you can look at any job, can't you, Jeremy, and watch the flow of it and see where that thing is, can't you?
Oh, Enterprise is a great system. About it's been close to 15 years ago. We got with a programmer and designer, and they put this together, and it was really meant to make sure that with survey, because we started off as a surveying company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And y- the information that you gather in the field with a survey is it's very important to keep up with all of that historical information, right?
Okay.
And we early on with telecom, we realized that we were going to be going back to these sites multiple times, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it just made sense to us to have a way to keep up with all of the information, whether it be billing information, whether it be client information,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Payroll.
everything, yeah, to do with that particular site. And it just kind of snowballed. And now Enterprise does everything. It
Wow.
keeps up with work in progress. It keeps up with all the financials. You can look at every site, every job that we do, and see the if it's being productive, how productive it is, how profitable it is. There are different levels of clearance to where you can have project managers can do whatever they need to do, and they can see hours spent on their job, how much money the job is, how much money the job has made. And it's extremely helpful on a high level visibility to just the people entering in their time. It even keeps up with the timesheets. So it's if you talk about the different tools for running a business, it's the entire toolbox. You can just pick a wrench, pick a set of pliers, pick a screwdriver, whatever you need, brother. You've got it.
And when I talk about SMW and their success, I mean, I've heard Michael, I mean, he's lectured me several times. He said, Stork, this software is what makes SMW successful, besides its people. So I'm going to let you talk, but your people are huge to you, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I spoke about family a little bit earlier, and it never rang more true than it has than this year. 2020 has been one of the more challenging years that we've ever faced at SMW. And I really believe that had we not laid the foundation so many years past, that we're, even though we're a larger company, we still treat, our employees as family. Your family at home individually always comes first. And when COVID hit, and we were talking about separation and talking about just all the different challenges that were going to come with that, one of the very first things we told people, our employees, we have to make sure that you stay safe. We can't put you in a situation that will require you to be somewhere that may put your family in danger.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were really lucky because of being that we have been doing survey for so long and our field crews were always being remote anyway. We had a fairly fail-proof remote access system that had built a server that we could access from wherever. So when it came time for us to pack up the office and move everybody to their own office, that forethought from Michael and all the other guys that had built this from the very beginning really was a blessing. So.
And it just helped you transition to where you are right now and trying to operate and everything. You talk about surveying and a lot of respect for anybody that wants to crawl in the briars or step in the mud or go out and everything. But if you're an outdoorsy guy and you want to be a surveyor, and I was trying to talk to you a little bit about it earlier, but you guys do a lot of it, and telecom surveys a little bit different than doing like a property survey, isn't it?
No, it definitely is. Yeah. When you go out to do a property, unless you're doing a house survey or a plot survey or something, um, you're going to spend more than a day or two.
Okay.
You're going to be cutting lines. You're going to be running boundaries. It takes a good bit of time to do all the court, courthouse research and then to do the field work. With telecom, you know, you may be faced with a deadline that requires you to do two or three different jobs in one day.
Wow.
So those guys, when we're busy on the survey side, they're kicking and kicking pretty hard.
Uh, Rooftop surveys, those things are picking up, aren't they? I mean, you're probably getting more requests. I've talked to a couple of engineers out there, and that business is still hitting, and carriers are starting to use rooftops a little more, aren't they?
Oh, definitely so. Yeah, we you just have so much real estate with towers, and for the most part, towers are outside the not necessarily the city limits, but they're kind of on the outskirts a little bit. There's a few situations where you're going to have towers in the middle of downtown, but it's usually not the case. So if you want to get the good service, the solid service, where you inside the buildings and everything, that it's rooftops are kind of the avenue that you want to travel.
If I had to pin you down and say, what you're really good at, or what you guys really love to do, is it geotechnical work? Is it small cell work? Is it survey work? I mean, if I said, build to suit work, turnkey build to suit with other companies, like from cradle to grave on a ring or whatever case may be. What do you really like? If you sink your teeth into and you really get excited about.
I really like the new site build.
Okay.
Um, eh, I got my start as a civil engineer designing residential, designing commercial sites.
Mm-hmm.
And every time we touch a tower that's needs to be built, I get to kind of go back through, you know, that part that
Mm-hmm.
of my career. Um, it, so that's my favorite. But that would just be me speaking. We have so many people as a company that enjoy doing what they do.
Mm-hmm.
The small cell side, there's people that wouldn't want to do anything but small cell. The guys that do the microwaves and the mods, the structurals, that's what they love to do. When I spoke earlier about people and trying to rely on their strengths, that's kind of what's allowed us to get those folks to where they are, to where that's what they love to do, because you want to be good at something, and in the way that we try to utilize people's strengths that allows them to have that success, so it allows that to be a good experience for them.
Had many conversations with you, and you've looked me straight in the eye several times and said, Stork, if we take it on at SMW, we want to know we can do it. And, that's a big thing with you, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Our biggest thing is we try to make whomever we're working for their job easier. And we've decided over the years there's really only about three things that can get you that success, right? Number one is you can do what you tell them what you're going to do. You get it to them on time. And if you're not going to get it to them on time, you tell them that it's not going to be there on
Mm-hmm.
time. And
Mm-hmm.
you have a really good reason as to why it's not going to be on time, right?
Yeah.
And then that's number one and number two. If you're going to do it, you better get it done. And if you can't do it, you better have a good reason. Number three, probably just as important as the other. It's kind of hard to say one, two, three, but you do your very best to get it right the first time you send it to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you can achieve those three goals, it'll make the people that you're working for their job much easier. And we've learned the hard way sometimes. If you don't make their job easier, they'll find somebody that will.
Yes, and you are so correct. And that is just simple block and tackle in a as Bob Lindyberg taught me, a doer seller, because engineering, it is. It truly is. As people laugh, though, it's a doer seller. You go catch the work, then you go in the back room and do it. Then you go catch another job and you do it.
Yep.
If you get good enough and they keep you on, then they'll keep you busy, as they say, keeping you into what they call a couple of wireless projects or whatever they may have going, just because they like it and they want you at their fingertips, don't they?
Well, sure. It's all about relationships, right? The best way to make relationships is, those three things that I just spoke about. The best way to keep jobs is after you've made that relationship, you continue to let them realize that they're the most important thing that you've got going.
Well,
Um,
you're exactly right. Let's talk about your locations. You the main headquarters course, about the last exit right off 65. You take a right there off. It's Cahaba Valley, isn't it?
it's
Cahaba
Valleydale,
Heights. What now?
Valleydale,
Valleydale.
Valleydale. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. It's right in between where 459 crosses over 65 and 19, and before you get to 119.
Right, right. But it's right at the edge, right off 65 and everything. And how many people you got there at headquarters
Uh,
when you're operating to keep COVID out of it?
yeah, when we're operating at full capacity, there's about anywhere from 60 to 65 people that are there all the time or coming in and out. Depends on the amount of survey crews that are in town. So
And you got an office down in Tampa, right?
yes, sir.
And anywhere else you got offices, you got boots on the ground.
We've got an office in Plano,
Okay.
um, and then we have some other satellite offices throughout the U.S. But they're just really just folks working from home at a
Hmm.
remote state. So
If there's anything you can say about SMW that you'd like to say to the people, or anything, I mean, are you need? We all could use some work. Heck, I'm always looking for work, looking for something to stack. But anything you'd like to say to the people, or anything out there?
just looking forward to the end of 2020.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You just honestly, these next 6 weeks, 7 weeks, we're gonna do everything we can to continue to be profitable for this year. It really hasn't been a bad year,
Hmm.
but the challenges have made it such that it wasn't as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
Um, but with the prospect of some new clients coming online next year, and the prospect of some current clients changing some of the ways that they're going to be doing things, it's favorable for us. So we're looking really forward to what's coming in 21. So
We all are, because we know some money has shifted from our carriers and stuff, and we see 2021 and they talk 2022. I mean, the next 3 years they say it's going to be bonkers as far as our industry and what we do,
yes,
and
sir.
well, and we all can't wait to get there. I mean, because we'd rather, all of us that do what we do, we'd rather have our head down, involved in some long gated project, trying to help some carrier get to where they need to go so they can light it up, and the consumers can use the phones, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it's still, but just like I talked to Tim House earlier, I mean, 5G is nothing more than just an overlay to our existing 4G, just like we did with 3G. It's just,
Certainly.
it's just the antenna change out, and we're just going to hawk up some more RRUs, and everybody needs to relax. We're going to switch your phone and upgrade your contract, and you just press hard. There's 3 copies. Bottom one's yours. But
Oh, sure.
you could.
I mean, our industry, like he was saying, it's a very young industry. But if what we do has allowed us to all still be somewhat successful in this pandemic. If it wasn't for wireless technology, uh, we couldn't work from home.
No,
There wouldn't be the bandwidth for it.
no.
We don't. I mean, we always say what. I'd love to go back to the times where people couldn't keep up with every step I make. But
You don't want that. You don't. You
you
think
know,
you let me take
oh,
that wireless phone and hawk it down to just
exactly.
voice. Yeah, let
Let
me
me
take.
tell you,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for what we do and what we strive to be successful on a daily basis, this COVID thing would have really been a lot worse.
I think you're right. I mean, you think about how many times you reached for your phone during the COVID that normally you would have done a different way, but
Well, sure.
just because I mean, I interviewed some football coaches, and they were having Zoom meetings and things like that, and then now you talk, and stock market's telling beware of Zoom, because if we get a vaccine, we go back to work. I mean, I know you guys, and you know me. I mean, we'll Zoom a little, but we ain't gonna be zooming like we were. It'll be zooming in person's what it's gonna be, because
Oh, for sure.
I mean, we're more of a. I mean, that's where we get a lot of our work done is face to face and seeing people, because when you can look them in the eye and say, hey, can you do this, and you get the approval, there's just something to it. It's not about how much money, or it doesn't have anything to do. Going to dinner or going to do something is just a medium to do a little business, whether it's a cup of coffee or whatever.
You're right.
Well,
As a society, we're extremely resilient, regardless of what you throw at us. So, the what we've been doing is just the first step of how we're going to continue. So,
well, I can't thank you enough for being on. I asked Tim House if he'd come back, and I'm sure maybe your partners will want to get on here. You never know. But hey, I hope you've enjoyed being on with me, and I just ask you to think about, if you would you come back and talk with us on Top of the Tower?
Stork, it's been a blast. It'd be my pleasure to come back and talk with you anytime, brother.
All righty. Well, you have a great day, and anything that I missed or anything I didn't put a ribbon around on SMW?
No, sir.
All
Really
right.
appreciate what you've done.
All right. Well, we'll talk again soon, and I can't thank you enough, and you have a good rest of the day.
You too, man.
All right.
Thank you.
See you.